Hey guys, my name is Niels van Roij. I'm a car designer and welcome to this video on the latest Volvo concept car, the Recharged concept.
So now is the moment to introduce our Concept Recharge. It is a car which represents a manifesto for the all-electric future of Volvo cars, as well as a new type of vehicle. It displays modern proportions that go hand in hand with increased versatility and shows what all the amazing future technologies that you've seen today can enable in terms of design. So to explain this, let's open the box and assemble our concept car. And then I can run through how we have designed our next generation of cars.
Before Robin Page is doing that, I'm going to quickly pause the video because what we're seeing here is a very Scandinavian way, a Scandinavian approach to not just car design, but also to videos. And that to me is wildly important. Yeah, it's important to see that this car is Swedish and to present it in a Swedish way, because that's why you build cars. That's how you build cars. Laurens van der Akker, fellow Dutch car designer, chief designer at Renault, when he came into Renault, he designed a circle of life. He said, this is my concept. This is what I see for Renault as its only future. Take it or leave it. And fortunately, they took it, because in it there is a very clear circle of different stages of somebody's life. Hence, circle of life. But it's a logical approach to how to establish your portfolio as a OEM. And what he did very well as well is showing that their brand is not as, let's say, cold as the Scandinavian, as clean, as simple, but also not as hot as the South, Italy, Ferrari, Fiat. So they're physically in Europe, in between basically in France. And it shows in their design language, in their surfacing, in their proportion, but especially the surfacing and the details. Very well done, and that's what they do here as well. So back to Volvo, they show their Scandinavian not through their design of their cars alone, but also through their videos, where Range Rover did a fantastic job on their video on introducing the new Range Rover. Please have a look at the review on this channel, showing that that was a British car, through its music, through the way it was told, the story of the car was told, through, of course, the design of the car, but the presentation of the car is equally important. That is why I'm so critical on some of the German brands. Some people say, Niels, you're a hater, you just hate Mercedes-Benz. No, I don't. I love the brand. I think it's wildly interesting, and it could be so much better. And the same goes for the videos and the way how they present their product. Back to Robin Page, back to Volvo and Concept Recharge.
But let's first start by looking at a traditional SUV with an internal combustion engine, and then we can make the comparison between the two. The proportions, hood height and overhangs are set by the position of the engine and the wheels. The floor and seats are positioned on top of the transmission components. Then the silhouette of the car is formed around the engine and the high eye point of the people and the thickness of the roof. So this is the layout of an SUV that you're familiar with today. Now, let us remove the engine and introduce our full battery pack. And to give our customers the range they want, we fit a large battery pack, and as a result, we extend the wheelbase and increase the wheel size. And this also creates the all-important flat floor, which results in even more space in our Scandinavian living room. Now, with the wheels moving out, we also shorten the overhangs. So now we can reposition the seats and then show you a new innovation. Now, Volvo introduced the booster cushion back in 1978, and to create enhanced safety for small children. Now, we take this even further by having a full adjustable cushion in the rear to not only create the perfect seat, but also let everyone in the car benefit from a high eye point. So with the extensive adjustable cushion and a full glass roof, we can optimize the space and lower the overall height of the vehicle, but keep the all-important high eye point, and this then gives the efficiency gain in aerodynamics, which means more range. Also, to create that efficiency gain, we can move the A-post forward and lower the hood as we've removed the combustion engine. So this is it. This is the new cab modern proportion. Now, electrification is not just about the powertrain, but it's also about creating a new form language and design for the front of the car.
Okay, let's stop it here. And because this is a very important point, Mercedes-Benz, please do have a look. Although their latest concept car, they have shown a car without a grille. Yes. They're different from the EQS, which has a face full of fake grills, which is not the honest story. Volvo is telling us the honest story. There is no combustion engine needing air for either combustion or cooling. So there is a lower grill intake that cools the batteries, and that's the same with every electric car, but that doesn't need to be big anymore. It doesn't need to be in that centralized position. So let's be honest, let's not put a fake grill on the front. I assume is going to be the story here.
Now, by removing the combustion engine, it's logical to remove the grille, but keep a solid shield-like structure either side with that strong Thor's hammer light signature. Now, the Volvo design language is about taking a solid form and carving away the volume from the surface, and this ultimately creates the graphic. And you can see that here in the diagonal. So you can see this form language throughout the whole of the car. Now, our design language does not only change outside, but also inside. I mean, we have embraced the Scandinavian design principles of creating visually clean and harmonized design, and because of the flat floor, gained even more open space. We have the optimal interface with the large 15-inch touchscreen and the floating driver display and the latest future connected experience. Now, combined with the technology, we have a strong architectural theme tailored in beautiful Scandinavian natural materials.
Important stuff here on color and materials. Honestly, again, where am I from? I'm from Scandinavia, I'm from Sweden in case of Volvo, so let's source local materials. Because why? It's better for the environment, it's honest story about this is how we think we build the best cars for our people. Cars are driven by people was one of the slogans that one of the founding fathers of Volvo said. And sure, it maybe sounds a bit obligatory and a bit like, yeah, okay, but it's being forgotten by quite a few brands. They designed interiors that you might like or dislike aesthetically, but they don't function around the human that is inside. And touch is a very important part of that function of the interior and the way it makes people feel. So great job, not just on exterior and interior design, but also on color and material.
And each part of the interior is like a piece of art and can stand alone as individual furniture in a room. So now let's talk about the front lights and our famous light signature connected to the story of Thor, the mythical god of thunder, lightning, and therefore electricity. So what is the next generation of Thor's hammer? A light which has the clear graphic both in the...
I'm going to quickly stop him here and just show you the love that is in the surfacing and the graphics and the lovely interplay between volumes. So let's say the fender, the front fender, that sort of hints, to me at least, to the strong shoulder lines of the old Volvos, the 100 series, the 200 series, the 700, the 900 series, the 850. And the cleanliness of these cars and the way the shut line comes down from the fender, which has this nice facet on the fender, emphasizing the strength of that piece of metal. It runs all the way down, creating the lower part of this hammer. And then underneath the headlight, there's this eye socket, if you like, that pushes in the surface, and it creates this graphic for an intake without actually putting a grill there, right? So it's very clean. The air comes in to the side, if you like, of the fender, the inside side of the fender. And then the bonnet with this lovely bit of sculpture scooped out. Like you said, Volvo is about creating one volume and scooping out that volume to give it more, let's say, the feeling of solidness, the feeling of thickness, the feeling of volume there. So yeah, I think this interplay of graphics, shut lines, facets, surfacing is beautifully shown here. And then on top of that, of course, the details of the headlight, the Thor's hammer headlight.
Day, and night. And to achieve that, we need to package all the latest high-definition technology into a slim, pure graphic, and that's exactly what we did. So let's move to the rear light, again, encapsulating the very latest technology, but designed in a way to create a vertical graphic, which is easily identified as a Volvo when following the car, and links to our strong heritage of vertical light signatures. And then our LiDAR, which flies in to sit on the roof in the optimum position to collect the very best data. Now, the LiDAR is a critical part of our excellence in safety.
And also excellence in honesty. So there's no shame in having these systems, but you have to integrate them properly. If you integrate, you shouldn't just stick them on like Audi does in their current grills, making the car look like a sort of undercover police car, because it's just, there's no love in the integration of these systems. And here you can see it's part of the roof graphic, the type of surfacing of the unit, even with a little bit of light on top. Yeah, it's lovely, it's well integrated, and it's not an afterthought.
And is an enabler to achieve our goal in zero collision. The new aero wheel design adds to our efficiency gains, along with the lower roof and lower front profile. And they also symbolize our new generation of all-electric cars.
Now, if you look at this proportionally, and you look through your eyelashes, basically, what I think is very nicely achieved is that you sort of see a Volvo 100 series or a 240 or a 740 or 940 that I have, or an 850. You see the classic Volvo in there, but not in a retrospective way, not in a repetitive way. It's something truly fresh, truly new, something intelligent, something forward-facing without denying its heritage. And this is also one of my major criticisms on, for instance, Mercedes-Benz or even BMW now as well, and Volkswagen as well. So there's a lot of German brands that are struggling with how can we push our brand or brand DNA into the future, create something fresh, something new, and at the same time not forget where we're coming from. And that's what Mercedes-Benz is completely doing now. They're entirely forgetting where they're coming from. Putting a star on top of any car doesn't make it Mercedes-Benz. What Volvo is doing is looking at both the conceptual essence of the brand. Cars are created by people. Cars are driven by people, also created by people. But so this human-centered design is very Volvo. Then these clean surfaces. Think of like I said, the 140 or the 260 or the 760 or the 850, the 940, etc. Very clean and simple cars, great sculptures. And here we've got this XC kind of car, so the XC70, for instance, previous generations, or cross-country cars of these days of Volvo. So it's a high-bodied vehicle, let's say, but it's not in your face. It's not trying to kill you. It has a nice focus due to these toxed headlights, but it's not angry. It doesn't want to get at you, right? Like so many SUVs. It's there. It's presence. It's it's confident, but it's not brash. Very Volvo, very fresh, and I think an excellent piece of modern car design for the brand.
The face of the car is proud and confident and signifies the next generation of electric Volvos. The solid carved out shield, the illuminated diagonal and iron mark supported either side with Thor's hammer. A signature light which is pure in the daytime, and then at night when you need the very latest high definition lights, the eyes open and reveal a pure hammer. This also gives the car an almost human character and personality.
I think it's nice. It might not reach production. I hope it does, because I think it would be a very nice new addition to the Volvo brand DNA, a relevant addition, rather than the Steve Madden DNA lights that added crap, rather than being a clean piece of car design. The whole stuff that Steve Madden did was by far the worst Volvo has ever done. He ruined the small series of Volvo, so the C30, the S40, the V50, and the C70 convertible were completely butchered. The lineup of cars he did, so the S60, the V60, and the XC60 of the first generation, absolutely horrendous cars. all over the place, very wild, very aggressive, nothing to do with Scandinavian design. Horrendous interiors with air vents all over the place and just a chaos of an interior. And this is actually a nice addition. And one could say it reminds me a bit of the Gina concept, which also had this opening eyes, this very human, sort of alive creature approach to car design, which I think is great. It serves quite a sort of another layer to the Volvo brand. So it would be really nice to see that reaching production, I think.
Now, the rear of the car continues our design principles of visually clean design, solid surfaces carved out to create the graphics. The vertical lights encapsulate the interlocking jigsaw piece, which proudly display the Volvo wordmark.
And it harks back to the 850, the first estate car by Volvo with these very tall, elegant taillights. But not in any way in a retrospective manner. They are cut off and made horizontal right underneath the shut line of the boot, let's say. Also in the previous, or the current, I have to say, cars, so the V60, the V90 do this very well. The XC40, for instance, designed by Ian Kettle, previous classmate at RCA, a year above me. A really nice guy, really nice Volvo too. Nice Scandinavian character, and like I said, a clear bloodline. This is a car that respects its elders, but also has its own vision about life, and that's the right balance, I would say, struck in car design by Volvo. One of the fantastic features that this car has is a straight rear end, and I remember when I was at the RCA, Sam Livingston, one of my senior tutors at the RCA, one day brought a Volvo S60 second generation car, one of these horrible Metin cars. It was brand new at the time, and he asked us, I think 15 to 20 students, to comment on the car. And I was very vocal that I thought it was an utterly crap piece of car design. Why? Because it was naive, it was angry, it was aggressive, it didn't have any space in the back. Nobody was able to sit in the rear seat. It's a family car, it's a Volvo. Like I said, the surfacing all over the place, forced ideas. It was just horrible. So I was very vocal. That landed me a short stint at his company, where I worked also for Volvo on that same research piece on what is the Volvo brand. I only had a very small part of that, but it was very interesting nevertheless. And I remember having chats about the straight rear end of Volvo estate cars. Again, going all the way back to the Duet, the first station car basically of the world, one could say, based on the very classical Volvo shape, then the Amazon, then the 100 series, the 200 series, the 700 series, the 900 series, the 850, all with these straight rear ends. And then they broke with that concept with the V60. Of course, before that with the XC90, but of course it was not just an estate car. So I think, okay, I could handle it back then, but the fact that the V60 was such a horrendous sculpture, just very squished and forced, I was very critical of that. And the team at Car Design Research was then doing some work for Volvo. And we discussed later on the then new V90, so the current V90, which is very dynamic. The rake of the rear end is very fast. And they said that that's because of the small market that is actually interested in estate cars these days is Northern Europe. That's it. So it's Scandinavia, let's say Norway, Sweden, Finland, Germany, underneath that, and the Netherlands and the UK, and then that's about it. So going more south, France, etc., they sell some estate cars there, but not too many. So we're talking about the Audi A6, the current Volvo V90, the E-Series, E-Class from Mercedes-Benz, the 5 Series from BMW, right? Large estate cars. And they don't sell them in China, they don't sell them in the US. Everybody wants SUVs these days. So the small market demanded a more dynamic station car look, not a straight rear end, according to research at the time. And I remember being rather critical on that, and they pushed back quite hard on me. And probably rightfully so, because of course it's very important to sell cars, not just to make fantastic looking cars, Saab, that nobody bought. So they probably made the right decision. But long story short, seeing this car with its straight rear end, oh my word, I hope they manage to push that through to production, because that would be awesome to see this new sculpture, this new Volvo sculpture built on top of this new architecture, like Robin Page just explained, with this straight rear end, this fresh interpretation of this classical Volvo rear end. I think the Peter Horbury Volvos, so the second generation V70, the first car with these hips, a fantastic piece of automotive design, dynamic front end, extremely strong shoulder, straight rear end, absolutely fabulous, but it was the last. Well, the V70 afterwards also had a, so the third generation V70 also had a straight rear end, but it wasn't that nice at all. But this car could be, hopefully, if it reaches in any way, shape or form production, it could be such a fantastic way of reintroducing in a modern way this straight Volvo rear end.
And the car welcomes you as you approach the vehicle. So now we move from the exterior into the interior, and you see our latest touchscreen interface is not only seamlessly connected to your life, but it's also the rest of the car. It breathes and lives as one. When the screen comes alive, as you sit in the car, the lights flow into the illuminated backlit wood and then moves across the car and into the doors. And with our future connected experience, you enjoy all the features of full connectivity designed to be serene, intuitive, and logical to use. Then we move into a virtual scene where the car's many sensors come to good use in real-time traffic. As part of the optimal aero efficiency of a lower roof, we have blades which extend from the rear lights to enhance the airflow at the sides of the car. And this also combined with the low roof and of course the aero wheels and the low front profile. Now for the first time, you see this new type of vehicle moving, and the design has a visually clean and clear theme. It stays true to our Volvo DNA and is modern and fresh. It not only encapsulates the high seating position, but also the high versatility expected by a family. So now you've seen the car virtually, let's walk over and see the real model.
One thing I would like to touch is that Volvo has since, I think probably the 50s or the 60s, very proudly marketed themselves as a family brand, which is not the hot thing, right? I mean, a lot of brands do, like, you know, oh yeah, our cars worth 150,000 euros are bought by 20-year-olds. Look at our nice marketing materials of two 20-year-olds being able to afford our cars. You know, they are honest at Volvo. They have been honest for a very long time, bar the Steve Martin period. Anyway, talked about that before. But what you see here as well is a car that is functioning for a family. And it has this strong shoulder line looking over the side view. It has this lovely straight rear end, very bold, very energetic, crisp surfacing, nice focus on the front end, new graphics, nice bit of body cladding underneath, giving quite some strength to that sill there and to that lower intake, probably cooling for the battery. But apart from that, it's superbly clean, very Scandinavian, lovely wheel to body ratio. It's really, really nicely done. So congratulations to the Volvo design team there. So thank you very much for tuning into this video on the Volvo Recharge concept car. We'll do another video on the interior of the car, which is truly worth having a look at as well. But you'll have to tune in another time for that. Let me know in the comments what you think of this concept car, what you think of the review, if there are any cars that you would like me to look at. This was one of your ideas, one of your thoughts. So thanks for tuning into the channel and giving me this suggestion. Please do share the video to thumbs up, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, because it helps us growing the channel, which is needed on YouTube, the algorithm, blah, blah, blah. So hope you help me out with that. Thanks for tuning in and see you again next week. Bye.